Billionaire woman goes undercover as a homeless girl, discover the life-changing truth about love. Samantha Hayes had it all, or so the world thought. At 34, she was a billionaire entrepreneur, living in a penthouse that touched the Chicago skyline. Webinars, product launches, and luxurious galas filled her calendar, but none of that mattered after Mark, her fiancé, walked away. The man she thought understood her, who knew her heart, shattered her world in a single moment. She stood among the gleaming towers of glass and steel, feeling emptier than the streets below, disconnected from life outside her gilded cage. With tears stinging her eyes, Samantha hatched an audacious plan. Under a veil of anonymity, she would become Sam, a nameless girl without a home. It would be an adventure, a necessary shake-up of her privileged routine. She shed her designer clothes, donning a pair of worn jeans and a tattered hoodie. The cold wind kissed her cheeks, and as she stepped onto the gritty sidewalks, the chaotic sounds of urban life engulfed her. Reality and senses collided in a way they never had while behind the opulent barricades of her past life. The nights were long and unforgiving. Under bridges, she huddled with the other forgotten souls, her body shivering with the cold and her heart thumping with unease. But then she met Lucy, a battle-scarred veteran whose haunted eyes mirrored a lifetime of pain. Lucy ran a community shelter, what felt like a sanctuary, where warm meals and kindness flowed abundantly. "We don't just serve food here," Lucy said, her voice thick with both pride and grief. "We offer hope." In those fleeting moments, Samantha watched as Lucy wrapped strangers in soft blankets and smiles. Each interaction was a lesson in resilience. The laughter of Marcus's children echoed through her mind, a single father battling to keep them fed, yet managing to bring joy into their daily struggles. Their innocence stood against the harshness of their reality, creating a warmth Samantha had never known. These people taught her something about love that no amount of money ever could. That connection flourished in the cracks of hardship. Just when Samantha felt a powerful perspective shift, the city announced plans to evict Lucy's shelter, making way for a luxury high-rise. The weight of impending loss hung in the air, shattering her newfound understanding. Torn between returning to her easy life or stepping up to protect her new friends, she felt the heat of indecision swirl within her. Would she allow fear to pull her back into her sheltered existence, or would she harness her wealth to stand for those silenced by the system? As tension brewed, the community rallied, igniting an impassioned debate around homelessness and social responsibility. Samantha found herself at a crucial moment. She could become a voice for the unheard, or she could retreat into her bubble of privilege. Heart pounding, she grappled with the reality of her choice, knowing it would alter the paths of those she had grown to love, and her own entrance into a world full of emotional depth. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Samantha came to realize that true wealth was not in her bank account but in the bonds formed through adversity. Just as she faced the daunting council meeting, her heart soared with determination. But as she prepared to act, a sudden twist emerged, leaving her and the reader hanging in suspense. Would her transformation lead to redemption, or would the chasm between her two worlds consume her whole? The council meeting loomed before Samantha like a storm cloud heavy with rain. She stood at the back of the room, her heart racing. The air was thick with anticipation and brimming with voices, murmuring about statistics and plans that had little to do with people's lives. She shifted uncomfortably, hiding in the shadows of the crowd, feeling both a part of it and utterly alone. Lucy sat at the front, her tough exterior cloaked in vulnerability, a woman fighting fiercely to protect the home she had built for so many. Their eyes met, and in that instant, a quiet understanding passed between them. The choice was clear: defend this place or risk losing it forever. As the discussions unfolded, the council members tossed around progressive-sounding words about community. Yet, beneath the surface, it was evident they were more interested in profit, flipping the shelter site into another money-making venture. Silently, Samantha's fists clenched at her sides. She could feel the weight of her hidden identity pressing down like a stone. Could she really step out from behind her mask? A man approached the podium, voice booming as he fought for his own community, demanding to keep the shelter safe. He described families using their last resources to stay warm, to stay fed. His voice held a tremor as he begged the council not to forget the faces behind the figures. Beside him, a woman spoke of her children, of dreams built on struggles, illustrating the very essence of resilience. Each word landed heavily on Samantha's heart, stirring a fire she had hidden since she took on her false identity. But what could she say that had not already been said? A part of her feared that the moment she opened her mouth, it would shatter something precious: her connection to Lucy, Marcus, and all the others. What would they think of her? Would they see her as the wealthy woman parading in to save the day, or would they embrace the truth that she had become a part of their community? Finally, overwhelmed by the collective energy, Samantha stepped forward. The murmurs hushed, and all eyes fell on her. It was here. This was where her worlds collided, and the precarious balance threatened to tip. Taking a deep breath, her voice broke through the tension, stronger than she imagined it could be. I understand what it means to feel unseen, to feel unheard. Her heart raced as she spoke, the truth of her journey spilling forth. I know the weight of hardship, because I have felt it in ways that took me too long to understand. A ripple of surprise flowed through the room. But she pressed on, pouring her heart into the moment. I'm no hero, but I can fight beside you. This shelter is more than a building, it's a lifeline. And if you all will have me, I will fight for it too. The silence was deafening as her vulnerability settled in, and she looked across the room, meeting the gazes of those so accustomed to being ignored. Samantha's bravado was a flickering flame amidst the storm, but she stood firm. Then she saw Lucy's small smile growing from the back, a glimmer of hope rising like dawn over darkness. But just as she felt the tide turning, the mayor stood, a look of genuine interest gracing his face. Interesting perspective, he began, and Samantha's heart sank. Was he mocking her? Did he mean to tear down her desperate stand? The room held its breath. What would he say next? Would Samantha's leap of faith lead to a victory or a crushing defeat? Uncertainty loomed larger than ever, and she knew the next words would either heal or break her bond with this newfound family. The mayor adjusted his glasses, his gaze intense. Interesting perspective, he repeated, pausing for effect. Samantha felt the heat rise in her cheeks, a mixture of anticipation and anxiety bubbling just beneath the surface. The tension in the room shifted. Would he challenge her? Dismiss her? However, he continued, his voice steady, I need to know what exactly qualifies you to speak on behalf of these people. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Samantha's heart sank as the whispers filled the silence. The words echoed in her mind like a warning bell. She fought to keep her composure. It was true, she had lived a comfortable life, but did that make her fight any less valid? I may not have lived their experiences, she said, her voice rising with conviction. But I've come to understand that true community is built on solidarity, not wealth. I'm here to listen and learn. Her words hung in the air like a lifeline tossed into turbulent waters. She could see the council members shifting in their seats, some visibly taken aback, while others scowled, debating her worthiness. But Lucy, standing at the front, leaned slightly forward, a look of pride on her face. That made the risk feel justified. The mayor seemed to weigh her response. He nodded slowly, as if granting her a moment's consideration. You want to fight for this shelter. But how far will you go? Samantha felt the undeniable urge to take a step further. I will fight in whatever way I can. I will meet these families, delve into their struggles even if it means putting myself at risk. This time, the murmurs began anew, buzzing through the audience like electrified whispers. This isn't a game, one council member called out, skepticism dripping from his words. You can't just waltz in here and expect credit. It takes more than words. Then let me prove it, she challenged back, meeting the eyes of the council member with unwavering determination. Let me immerse myself in their realities. Lucy's smile broadened, and she stepped closer as if drawing strength from Samantha's boldness. You're not just a name or a face. You're one of us now. Do whatever it takes. Then so be it, the mayor spoke again, now with a hint of grudging respect. If you're truly committed, I suggest volunteering at the shelter. Get to know what they face daily. The room shifted, surprise thunderous in the air. Samantha nodded. Yes. I'll take that challenge. I won't turn away from the life they live. I'll understand their struggles firsthand. With that declaration, a new bond began to form, a bridge connecting her world to theirs, piece by piece. But uncertainty gnawed at her heart as she thought of what lay ahead. It wouldn't be easy. She'd have to confront her fears, face rejection, and feel things she hadn't felt in years. As the meeting wrapped up, Samantha took a few steps backward, absorbing the gravity of her declaration. Each gaze held its own story, a whisper of hope intertwined with skepticism. Lucy caught her eye again, a silent acknowledgement shimmering between them. It felt like a pact forged in fire, but just as relief started to wash over her, a figure from the back of the room caught her attention, a man with familiar features, a look sown with years of hard choices, stepping forward. His presence made the air grow heavy with unspoken words. Samantha's heart raced. This might change everything. Would he embrace her or condemn her? Are you really prepared to give everything up? He asked, eyes piercing into hers. You can't turn back when you see what's truly out there. How would she respond? The new journey was about to begin. Samantha drew in a breath, meeting the intensity of the man's gaze. His words hung in the air like a dangerous promise. She didn't recognize him, but he carried a weight that spoke of past struggles, of a life lived in the shadows. It felt personal, and it struck her hard. I know it won't be easy, she began slowly, wrapping her arms around herself as if to shield her from the enormity of what lay ahead. But that's why I'm here. To learn, and to help. I want to understand. Understanding isn't the same as living it, he countered, his voice firm but not unkind. You can step back into your world anytime. But those people, they can't just walk away. Their battles are constant. Are you truly ready to carry that weight? The crowd had fallen silent, every pair of eyes now on her, their curiosity and skepticism laid bare. She felt the pressure of their expectations, the familiarity of the privilege she'd always lived under, and a surge of fear intertwined with resolve. I'm not looking to be a hero, she replied, the words tumbling out before she could fully process them. I'm just trying. She paused, glancing at Lucy, who nodded encouragingly. To find a way to connect, she finished. If I can't relate to their struggles, then what's the point? I want to advocate for them in a way that truly represents their needs, not just what I think they need. You'll see things you never wanted to see, he said, the caution in his voice wrapping around her. You'll see lives unraveled by addiction, kids lost in the system, families shattered by loss. And when he added, you may end up losing something dear to you, too, Samantha felt the heat of truth. She straightened herself, steeling her resolve. I understand what's at stake, she insisted, finding strength in her own commitment. And I can't walk away now. Not when it matters so much. The man's expression softened, the sharp edge of his cynicism giving way to something more vulnerable. Then you better prepare yourself, he said. It'll test every part of you. And it will change you. Before she could respond, the mayor's voice cut through the thick air. There's a decision to be made here. If you truly believe you can make an impact, then it's time to start. You'll begin at the shelter tomorrow. Samantha nodded, feeling a surge of both fear and excitement. Yes, I'm ready. As the meeting disbanded, the room buzzed with chatter, the earlier tension fading somewhat. But as Samantha turned to leave, she noticed the man lingering, still studying her. There was a part of her that wanted to understand him, to know why he cared so deeply. Yet another part of her wrestled with the feeling that he held too many answers she wasn't ready for. "Wait," she called out before she could think better of it. "What is your name?" He hesitated before taking a step toward her, a flicker of something in his eyes. "Nathaniel," he revealed quietly, the name hanging between them like a thread to follow, a mystery waiting to unravel. "Will I see you again?" she asked, her heart pounding with an urgency she didn't understand. "Maybe. Just remember, walking in someone else's shoes can change your own forever." With that, Nathaniel turned to leave, his shadow falling across the exit like a warning. Samantha swallowed hard, the weight of his words pressing against her chest. What had she signed up for? And more important, could she truly face the truth that awaited her? The journey to the shelter loomed ahead, and with it, the promise of change, maybe for herself, maybe for those she sought to help. But as she stepped out into the night, the question lingered in her mind: what was she willing to lose in order to truly find herself? Tomorrow, she thought, would bring the answers she wasn't sure she was ready for. The sun crept over the horizon, casting soft golden rays across the city, but Samantha's heart felt heavy. The morning's chill matched her thoughts as she made her way to the shelter. She had tossed and turned through the night, battling doubts that gnawed at her resolve. What had she really signed up for? Would her efforts even make a difference? As she neared the shelter, a wave of noise washed over her, voices filled with hope and despair mingled in the air. Her heart raced. This was it, the real world she was stepping into, the world she had only seen from afar. She took a deep breath, clenching her fists as she pushed through the sliding glass doors. Inside, it was bustling. Overflowing tables were filled with people sharing their stories, laughter intertwining with tears. It felt alive, vibrant despite the weight of sorrow that hung in the air. Samantha moved through the sea of faces, feeling like a ghost in a place that felt all too real. "Hey, you must be Samantha." A cheerful voice broke through her reverie. She turned to see Lucy waving at her, a friendly smile lighting up her face. "Let's get you settled," Lucy continued, guiding her away from the chaos. They found a small corner where Lucy explained the day's plans. "You'll start by helping serve breakfast. It's a great way to meet some of the guests and get a feel for the place." Once in the kitchen, the aroma of warm pancakes filled the air, drawing people like bees to honey. Samantha tossed on an apron, the fabric scratchy and heavy against her chest. With each pancake she flipped, she felt a little more at ease, slipping into a rhythm that soon felt comforting. She could do this. But then she met Mary. Mary was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes that hinted at both laughter and sorrow. She had an unkempt mop of curly hair, but the warmth in her smile was infectious. "You must be new," Mary said, taking a plate of pancakes with a grateful nod. "I wish I had someone like you when I first came here. You'll make a difference, trust me." Samantha felt a rush of warmth at Mary's words. "Thank you. I hope so." But as they spoke, Mary's gaze fell, and for a moment, a steep shadow crossed her face. "Be careful of what you wish for, dear," she whispered, looking around as if shadows danced just outside the walls of the shelter. Samantha's stomach twisted. What did that mean? Despite their conversation, the atmosphere brimmed with camaraderie. Laughter erupted among the guests, and for the first time, she felt a flicker of understanding. These people were not just faces. They were people with dreams, stories, and struggles. She was drawn into their lives, feelings swelling with every shared word, every grateful smile. As lunch approached, a loud commotion arose from the dining area. Samantha stepped into the chaos to find a young man arguing with one of the volunteers. Anger boiled just beneath the surface, and the tension pulled at the air like a drawn bowstring. "Get out of my way. You don't know what I've been through," he shouted, his chest heaving with rage. Samantha's heart raced as she took a step forward. Could she step in? Would that be the right move? As she wrestled with herself, she caught a glimpse of Nathaniel's oak-like presence in her mind. If she was to do this, she had to be brave. "Hey, maybe we can talk this out," she called out, making her way closer. All eyes turned on her, and for an instant, the world around her faded. They were waiting, hoping she'd do something, anything, to change the tide. What was she about to uncover in this moment, and how would it shape her still growing journey? Just then, the young man's eyes searched hers. Samantha held his gaze, steady and resolute. This was just the beginning. The day had only just started, and the questions were piling high. Was she really ready for what lay ahead? Samantha felt her breath hitch in her throat as the young man glared at her, emotions swirling in his eyes: hurt, anger, a flash of vulnerability. She stepped closer, trying to ignore the adrenaline rushing in her ears. In that moment, she wanted to reach out and let him know she understood. A quiet connection began to form. "Please, let us just talk. What is your name?" she asked, her voice steady but kind. "Why should I tell you anything?" He shot back, fists clenched at his sides. Yet, the fire in his gaze began to soften, just a little. "Because I want to listen," she replied, her heart pounding as she continued to hold his gaze. Everyone deserves to be heard. The small crowd around them, drawn in by this unexpected confrontation, hushed. Samantha felt their eyes, curious and expectant, and she knew she had to keep going. "Everyone here has struggles, including me. I've had my own battles." She searched for the right words, each one felt like a delicate step on uncertain ground. "But that doesn't make us any less deserving of compassion or understanding." The young man blinked, uncertainty crossed his face. "You think you know what it's like?" he muttered, voice laced with skepticism. "No," she admitted honestly, "but I want to understand." The heat of the moment hung in the air, thick with emotion. Slowly, his gaze drifted down, and he exhaled a shaky breath. "It's just hard. You don't know how it feels to constantly fight for every little thing." "I actually do. It's scary being brave," she said, trying to remember Nathaniel's kind words. "But you have every right to be here, just as much as anyone else." He looked back at her, and though his expression was still guarded, a flicker of hope ignited within it. "You don't even know my story." "Then tell me," she urged, her voice gentle but filled with determination. "Let me get to know you." He hesitated, glancing around at the faces that filled the room. The uncertainty in his dark eyes was palpable. "Fine," he said at last, the anger draining from his posture. "But it's not pretty." Samantha felt a rush of relief. "I can handle it." With that, the young man began to share his story: how he had lost his job, the crushing weight of overdue bills, and the desperate fear of losing everything. Each word sent waves crashing over her heart, and in that moment, she wasn't just a volunteer. She was a vessel for his pain, a bridge to a world that needed to be understood. As he spoke, she realized, she was uncovering something important, not just about him, but about humanity itself. Each person she met had a story woven with threads of struggle and survival. It wasn't just about charity, it was about connection. Just as Samantha began to find a sense of purpose in this new role, she felt a hand on her shoulder. Lucy had returned, her expression a mixture of pride and concern. "You did well, Sam. But don't forget you can't save everyone." Samantha turned to Lucy, feeling a heavy weight settle upon her chest again. Was that the truth? Could she really make a difference in a world so vast and complex? Isn't it worth trying? She challenged softly, eyes flicking back to the young man, who now wore a mixture of relief and newfound strength. But just as hope sparked for her, the shelter doors swung open. A new commotion spilled inside a group of people, wild-eyed and chaotic, bursting onto the scene. Samantha's heart lurched. What now? Something deeper was waiting to unfold, and she couldn't shake the feeling that this day was about to take an unexpected turn. What new challenges would lie ahead, and how would they redefine her resolve? The moment the shelter doors swung open, the atmosphere transformed. A rush of cold air cut through the warmth inside, and the loud chatter of panic cut across the room like glass shattering. A group of frantic faces entered, eyes darting around as if searching for someone. "Help! Please!" A woman's voice rang out, desperate and strained. Samantha's heart raced. Lucy squeezed her shoulder tighter, their connection a silent reassurance. The group was a mixture of ages, but what caught her attention was the wild, frenzied gaze of a girl not much older than herself, clutching a tattered backpack. Her clothes were disheveled, but it was the look of fear and disbelief that gripped Samantha. "We can't stay out there. They're coming for us." The girl gasped, glancing back towards the door as if expecting a horde to follow. "What is happening?" Lucy asked, stepping forward, her voice steady yet filled with concern. The girl took a shaky breath, trying to gather her thoughts as the room filled with murmurs. "We were just in the park. A group started yelling at us. They said they wanted to drive us out. We had to run." Samantha shared a glance with the young man she had just begun to connect with. His brow furrowed, he looked as shaken as she felt. The tension in the air thickened. Lucy moved closer to the girl, her nurturing nature coming through. "You're safe now. Let us get everyone calm. We can help you," she said, her voice a soothing balm, but Samantha couldn't shake the rising dread inside her. This wasn't just an unexpected situation, it felt like a storm brewing. She thought of the vulnerable people they were trying to help. The last thing anyone here needed was more chaos. "Who was it?" Samantha asked, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "Who were you running from?" The girl hesitated before swallowing hard. "A gang. They want to patrol the area, push us out. We're not wanted anymore." Gasps echoed through the room. The weight of her words seemed to hang in the air, wrapping around everyone like a heavy fog. "Are they here? Did they follow you?" Lucy interjected, her protective instincts kicking in. "No, not yet," the girl replied, her eyes wide with uncertainty. But that was enough to send a ripple of concern through the group. Some began reaching for their belongings, while others whispered about securing the exits. Samantha felt a knot tighten in her stomach. This wasn't what she had imagined when she first volunteered. She wanted to listen and connect, not dive into a crisis. But even as the panic spiraled, she realized this was the moment she had signed up for. "We can't let fear control us," Samantha asserted, her voice stronger than she felt inside. "Maybe together, we can fight back. We need to stand with them, not push them away." The young man she had spoken to earlier nodded, stepping a bit closer to her. "She's right. If they think they can intimidate us, they have another thing coming." Samantha's heart swelled with pride for the young man's newfound determination. It felt powerful, the way they could support one another in this chaotic moment. But as the tension rose, the shelter doors rattled again, a loud clatter echoing through the room. All heads turned. Panic flickered across every face. Samantha's heart sank. Were they about to face their greatest fear? The air felt electric as the seconds dragged, and in that pivotal moment, she realized she had a choice. Either cower in anxiety or forge ahead with hope. What would she choose? And what would happen next in their fight for safety and unity? The doors rattled again, sending a jolt of fear through the room. Samantha could hear her own heartbeat, loud in the silence that fell over the shelter. Each face turned toward the entrance, eyes wide, breaths held. She felt Lucy's grip tighten on her shoulder once more, a powerful anchor as uncertainty roared within her. Samantha took a deep breath. It was now or never. "Listen up," she called out, raising her voice to reach everyone. "We need to stick together. We are stronger as a team. Whatever is out there, we handle it together." Some nodded, but others remained frozen, fear rooting them in place. The young man, still beside her, echoed her words. "You heard her. We'll be ready for anything. We're in this together." Moments stretched on as they waited, the atmosphere charged with worry and anticipation. Would it be just the wind? Or something worse? The door creaked slightly, and the sound sliced through the tension like a knife. A muffled voice shouted from outside, just beyond the protective walls of the shelter. "Let us in. Please. They're coming." The girl with the backpack stepped forward, her eyes flaring with panic again. "That's them," she gasped. "They're coming." A few people rushed to the door while others barricaded themselves toward the back of the room, whispering about escape routes and what to do if the gang took over. Samantha caught the young man's eye again. He was even more agitated now, brows knit together, and she felt an aching need for clarity. "Who is coming? What do we do?" Samantha shouted over the rising noise, trying to maintain command of the chaotic energy around her. "Just a few of them, maybe 5. They wanted us gone." "A warning," they said. The girl faltered, her voice breaking. "But we didn't listen. We were just in the park, trying to live." Tears streamed down her cheeks, and Samantha felt a wave of compassion crash over her. "Stay close," Lucy urged, moving towards the girl, wrapping an arm around her. "We won't let anyone hurt you. We'll protect each other." The rattling intensified, becoming a series of violent knocks. A collective flinch ran through the group. Samantha couldn't let the fear take hold. "We can't show them that we're scared. We need to hold strong. Anyone got something we can defend ourselves with?" Hands began reaching for makeshift weapons. A heavy metal pole. A wooden stool. Anything that could be held to confront the unknown outside. But as they prepared, a sense of focused determination swept through Samantha, igniting a fire within. Her mind raced. They were more than just a group of individuals, they were a community. And a community fought together. "All right, everyone," she started, her voice steady this time. "When I say go, we open the door together. We'll show them that we won't back down." A wave of nods passed through the group. They huddled together, a line of brave souls ready to face whatever lay beyond the shelter doors. Suddenly, a loud crash. The door flew open, and darkness spilled into the light, shadows of figures standing there, faces obscured and menacing. Fear mixed with defiance in the air, and in that moment, Samantha felt the pulse of unity among them. This was not just about surviving, it was about standing firm in their belief of community, facing the storm together. "Now!" Samantha shouted. As they prepared to confront the figures looming in the doorframe, a rush of adrenaline surged through her. Little did they know, this confrontation would change everything for each of them, but what awaited them outside? Would their courage be enough to protect not just themselves but those who sought refuge among them? The figures outside shifted, their outlines jagged and threatening against the dim light. Samantha's heart raced as she grasped a broken chair leg, its splintered end a crude weapon in her grip. She felt a collective breath held, a heavy stillness that settled on the group, the weight of their resolve pressing down as they stood shoulder to shoulder. "Back away," came a voice from the shadows, sharp and commanding. A broad-shouldered man stepped into the light, his face obscured by the low brim of a cap. He was flanked by 4 others, equally intimidating, but something in his stance suggested authority, like he believed he owned the moment. "We're not looking for trouble," Samantha shouted, her voice steadier than she felt. "We're just trying to survive." "Survive? Is that what you call this? Hiding away like rats?" His laughter echoed, cruel and mocking. "You have no idea what you're messing with." Samantha stepped forward, trembling yet defiant. The people behind her were holding their breath, their hope hanging on her next words. "We're not afraid of you. This is our shelter, and we will fight to protect it." With that, the man took a couple of steps closer, bringing a mix of anger and confusion to his face. "Protect it?" he scoffed. "What are you hoping to do with that?" He pointed at her makeshift weapon, laughing again. Then, a surge of courage pulsed through her. "You don't get to decide who lives and who dies here. You're not the only ones with something to lose." In that moment, the air thickened with tension. Behind her, Lucy squeezed Samantha's shoulder, whispering, "Stay strong." Those 2 words were enough to keep Samantha anchored, fueling her resolve. Suddenly, the backpack girl stepped up, tears still glistening in her eyes. "We didn't hurt anyone. We weren't part of any gang. We just wanted to enjoy the park." Her voice wavered, but her words hung in the air, a testimony to their innocence. The man paused, mischief fading from his eyes. "The park? We warned you to stay away. You think you can just wander in our territory and play house?" Samantha felt the air shift, the moment hanging precariously in balance. "Want to keep it? Show us. Show us how powerful you really are." The challenge in her voice lay bare, daring him to emerge from the shadows not just physically but for the truth of his purpose. The whispering crowd around her seemed to breathe in a collective gasp, sharing the weight of her audacity. "We don't want your territory, we want peace." The words erupted from her, raw and pleading. "You may think you control this place, but we can find another way. There's no reason for this fight." The man's posture softened momentarily, uncertainty flickering across his face. Her heart raced, hope igniting within her. Maybe this was the chance to turn the tide, to break down the walls between them. The other figures stood still, gauging their leader's reaction, but before anyone could breathe, a loud crash echoed behind them as one of the shelter's makeshift barricades toppled. Panic surged like electricity through the room as the group spun around, eyes wide. "Stay here!" shouted the young man beside Samantha. He rushed toward the sound, instinct taking over as adrenaline surged through him. "Wait!" she yelled, but he was already moving, driven by a purpose she couldn't deny. As the confrontation outside simmered, Samantha's heart pounded not just from fear but from a dawning realization. If the barriers were down, how many more truths could surface? And with that question hanging in the air, a sense of urgency filled the room. Would they be able to protect one another when chaos collided with their fledgling hope? Each moment strained tighter, waiting for the next clash that could shatter their fragile alliance. What would happen when bonds were tested? Would peace ever bridge the divide they faced? The chaos erupted with a force that felt like an earthquake. Cries of terror and anger mingled, shaking the very foundation of the shelter. Samantha could only stand in the thick of it, her heart hammering against her chest. The young man bolted toward the toppled barricade, leaving her exposed in the face of uncertainty, but she refused to back down. This was a moment of awakening the pulse of everyone around her, woven together by shared adversity. "Stay together!" Lucy's voice rang out, cutting through the cacophony, but Samantha couldn't help but feel her own resolve shatter like glass. The man at the forefront of the gang remained frozen, wrestling with disbelief at his unexpected challenge. "Do you honestly believe you can change anything?" he snarled back, his presence nearly devouring the light around him. But Samantha saw the cracks in his bravado. There was more to him than just the harsh exterior. She took a step forward, emboldened by the chorus of voices urging her on. "Yes. We can change things. But only if we put aside our differences." Her words came from a place deep within, raw and loud enough to be heard above the fray. "I've seen the struggle. I've felt the pain. What if instead of fighting, we work together? We can help each other live. Let us build something better." The murmurs from the group behind her coiled into a hopeful chorus that filled the air with tension and determination. Would her plea shatter the animosity, or would it fall into the abyss of fear? With a flicker of surprise crossing his features, the gang leader seemed to hesitate, glancing between Samantha and his people. "You really think the world works that way? You think you can extend an olive branch to those who want to shove you out?" "Yes," she called back, her voice alive with conviction. "There's enough room for all of us. If we work together, we can reclaim our spaces, uplift each other. But it starts now. Choose to walk away from this cycle of violence. It doesn't have to be this way." The small girl in the tattered backpack, teetering just behind Samantha, suddenly stepped forward. "I just wanted to sit in the park," she cried, her voice rising as tears formed in her eyes. "What's wrong with that?" The weight of her sorrow hung thick in the air, and for a moment, even the gang leader seemed affected. He faltered, his bravado cracking further as the sincerity of the girl's words pierced through the chaotic storm. "Children shouldn't have to fight," Lucy added softly, stepping closer. "They deserve a place to play without fear. We all do." Taking a deep breath, Samantha approached them cautiously, her heart pounding in her ears as she extended her hand in a gesture of peace. "We can become something greater together. We don't have to live in conflict. Let us build something lasting. Communities are made stronger by compassion, not aggression." A charged silence enveloped the crowd, the gang members shifting uncomfortably. Some exchanged glances, uncertainty rippling among them. The possibilities hung in the air like suspended notes in a symphony, and in this liminal space, hope glimmered. Another voice rose up, this time from amidst the gang. "We've fought hard for what we have. Survival isn't easy." Samantha nodded. "I get that. But the fight doesn't always have to be against each other. What if we pooled our strengths and made changes together? Let us create solutions instead of just reacting." The owner of the voice tilted their head, considering her for the first time. Realizing that this was a moment of transformation, Samantha recognized the urgency of the situation. "I'm willing to listen. Will you join me?" I don't know," he admitted, the raw honesty disarming. "What if we fail?" "It might be hard," she replied, her voice steady, "but what's the alternative? The endless cycle of pain benefits no one. Isn't it worth fighting for something more?" Another crucial moment ticked by, and then, like a wave crashing over rocks, the gang leader stepped forward with a resolve that hung heavy in the air. "Maybe there's more we need to do. Maybe it starts with us listening." Samantha sensed the tide shifting, a current of understanding beginning to flow between two once opposing sides. As their eyes locked, there was a flicker of recognition, a shared humanity that bonded them all amidst the turmoil. Then, the unexpected happened. "Let them in," came a voice from the back of the gang. The words rang with unexpected power, and as the door creaked open wider, a collective gasp filled the room. A sense of new beginnings settled in like dawn breaking, and a gentle light broke through the horizon of their division. The first warm rays of understanding began to shine. As the doorway opened wider, something beautiful washed over them all, a sense of possibility, hope, and connection blooming amidst uncertainty. Another voice erupted, "Together, we can create a place where everyone is embraced." The chorus behind Samantha swelled with unexpected confidence. Hands joined, hearts united, in that moment of reckoning. Shadows faded as they slowly embraced the fragile but powerful truth they were not enemies, they were part of a shared journey, overcoming fear and prejudice. They could rise together from the depths of despair. As the last remnants of conflict bled into the horizon, Samantha felt a surge of joy ripple through her heart. She had fought for this moment, not for glory but for essential humanity. The barrier between their worlds dissolved, breathing together as one. The struggle had begun, but now an undeniable force emerged, the force of community. Now is the time to join this journey of transformation. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of uplifting our collective stories. Let's make a difference together.